The following is intended for informational purposes only. It is intended to supplement classroom training and documentation. It should not be relied on as a replacement or substitute for classroom training with a live expert instructor. Welcome to Lesson 7, Adding Form Line Field Details. Here we will concentrate on the form line section where you can actually add in other fields, supporting fields like as reported, as current, change reason, and we'll see how we use those. And then we will go to our tax form and enhance the tax detail section with these particular detailed fields. So let's look at a form again, add a new form. I've made some more updates that I would like to show you. So here on the main section there are no changes. On the personal details again also there aren't any changes, so let me just fill this in. Now on the tax details you will see that I have added in on each line the headers as reported, as current, and change reasons, and it shows 3 fields per line as opposed to having one before, which was the as current, which is the existing latest value for the form. Now we actually show 3. What do these mean? As current, as I just mentioned, is the one which is valid right now. As reported is the initial value of the of this particular line. And if you have a change reason over here, if you make a update, you will have to add in a change reason. So let me show you how that works. Let's say I start off by starting off, let's say, and I leave that blank, and let's say I put in my amount, let me save that. Now, let's say I validate. And then we look at the results. You will see a few things. First of all, the values which I put in here was 30,000 and 30,000. They're also reported. They're also shown as as reported because that was the initial value I put in. Since no other values were put in, all these as reported are empty. And then we have come along with the different form rules which calculated this value. And for this particular one, the value was calculated, and initially nothing was put in, and then it was updated because of the autocorrect, and it automatically just put a change reason in for this one and this one. Now if I actually make a change, I remember that I have other income, let's say. Then let's say I put in, hey, I have another income there for 2,000. I update this to 32,000. I leave everything else empty, and I save. Let's see what happens. It comes up that I have no change reason. It can't actually save yet, and the reason is because I made a change to this one. and I need to actually populate for the change reason. So let's say I put additional information provided by taxpayer, and it comes up with another reason. Another change reason has not been added in, and that's because I updated this one. So this one also needs a line, and now I'll be able to save. Now if I validate this now, what you'll see is this has been now updated. Now that original value calculated for 800 has not been moved to the as reported, because as reported is only the very first initial value which has been added to the form, and since it was left blank, therefore there was no as reported, so it's empty. Okay? Just to make that clearer, if I actually let me just create a new form. This time I'm going to add in, I'm going to actually estimate how much tax I should be paying, and you'll see the difference. I'm just putting in some garbage here, doesn't matter what I put in. I'm not. Now in tax details here, let's say I put in a value for, again, 50,000 here. And let's say I forget to put taxable amount total in, and here I put in my calculated tax amount. I say, well, I think I should pay 1,000 there, and then I say, hey, let's see how this works with tax deduction. I have a deduction of 300 there, and my final tax amount, let's say, should be 700. I have a withholding of, say, 2,000, and payment initially 100. Let's just see, and my outstanding amount should, let's make it more. I have a withholding of final tax amount, and I've outstanding amount should be 400. Let's just see what happens now. Let's just give another example to see how these change reasons work. So I've saved it, but now let's see what happens with validate. I'm going to get some errors. And one of the reasons I have an error is that I didn't actually put in the value in the taxable amount. It expects a taxable amount. Let's say I make a mistake. Okay. So, if actually, first thing it says, hey, this number is incorrect, I would have to change that. So let me edit. Let me change that to 50,000. Remember to put in a change reason, correction calculation error, let's say. These values have all been moved, as you see, to the as reported, because the initial values put into a form are always, that's what the as reported does. Now I save this. Just showing another example with errors and see how it works with the change reasons. We should get some other issues. So it's gone to this final stage. Now let's have a look. So in this particular case, this I added in myself, right? This was an error. The original value was 30,000. I updated it with a change reason of 50,000. This value initially I set to be 1,000, and along came the form rule to make a calculation, updated the calculation to 2,300, and left the 1,000 as reported. This is the value that it's going to use to continue on. It's not as reported is just information for the initial value. The 300 has been moved to the 300 over there, which is fine. But now, and it's calculated this value, and it says autocorrect because I originally put 700 in and automatically added it up correctly. Moved the value there. Payment, that's fine. But let's see if I try to re-edit. Let's do one other thing. And do one more change. Go to my tax details. What happens, let's say, if I remove, or let's say I add in a different value here, and I remember that I have to deduct 400 more. Let's see how this works. Do I need to put in a change reason here? Change reason is needed. So I didn't initially have, so I have a change reason or additional information. Save that. Okay, so I have 400. So this shows you that the original amount, 300, was the first one I added in, and it shows it there. But the 400. As reported shows nothing because there wasn't only one record. If I edit it again, let's say if I wanted to remove that whole record completely, let's say the first one I don't want at all, what would happen here? Be interesting to see what happens. There we see the first record has been completely removed. Alright, so now if I validate now, ready for posting, has an autocorrect again, and that makes sense. Okay, so that's how the change reason as reported works. What have we learned in this lesson? We've looked at the different fields, the detailed fields on a form line, and we added them into our tax detail section. As current should be understood as the latest value. That's what it means, and as reported means the initial value. And change reason is if it is defined, it is not just optional, it's required. On every change you make for that particular line, you have to make a change reason, and you have to add a change reason. And if you don't, you won't be able to save the data, and the form will come up with with an error and will expect you to fill in the change reason first. And in order to use the change reason, you have to first of all define it on the form type to say that change reasons are used on the lines, and add in values for the particular change reasons, and then also on the form line itself define that you will be using change reasons. So there are a few different things in order to use change reasons to configure before you can use it.